wanted to get out of what I was involved in, and that was REO. Trapped to brick and mortar, trapped under the thumb of government agencies listing their properties. So this was huge for me. So if you're new here, pay attention to everybody. And if there's one thing, if there's one piece of advice that I can give you, Rich Lennon, is he here? Rich, you stood up, I remember this, in 2016, you stood up and we're talking about the shiny objects and the squirrels and how you chase different things, and that was me like times 10, and I didn't really realize what he was talking about at the time until several years later. So I had to narrow down what it is that I wanted to do. So let's talk about teeny homes. Let's see if I can get this to work. Okay, my husband and I are Class A contractors. I worked as an apprentice under my husband because I wanted to learn the construction business. So you can see the pictures there. I really do work on some of the job sites, probably not now. I don't do as much now, but I used to. I'm more comfortable in jeans and boots, honestly, than sitting in front of a computer. But I've been a licensed real estate broker for 20 years, land developer, short-term rental host, sub-2 buyer, note creator with contract for deeds, and a former house flipper. I do not want to flip houses anymore after building new. These are teeny homes. I call them teeny homes because if you say tiny homes, a lot of times people confuse that with wheels. And even though they're cute, I'm not into wheels. I wanted sticks and bricks and foundations. So these are stick-built on permanent foundations. And my tiny teeny homes range from 326 square feet up to 836 square feet. I do like to build 2 on 1 lot. And if I can get more than that, then that's what I'm going after as well. So I'm just going to run through this just so you know what we're talking about here. Run through this a little quickly. You can see I did this side picture so you can kind of see what it looks like from the side. This particular house right here is 680 square feet. And I do use these two as short-term rentals. I do put full-size appliances in them, mainly because these small appliances are extremely expensive, and I may do some retro on the next 2 builds. But for now, I go with the full-size appliances. I put granite in them. I put Pergo, vinyl plank flooring, 65-inch TVs, 55-inch TVs. I pretty much try to upgrade everything that I can. And this is the little teeny weenie that Jim was talking about. We just kind of named them these because when we were building them, and even on the material list at Ruffin and Payne, the lumber company, they were writing out teeny weenie and teeny so they knew where to ship. So we just kind of stuck with those names, and they're actually the names on Airbnb and Vrbo. That's what it looks like from the side. It's 326 square feet, studio style inside. And Beth was asking me yesterday, I took her to look at them in between guests, and she said, why did you put the full size? And the full size in this one stove is a little big. So on the next one, on the next builds, we are going to try to go with something a little bit smaller. But I go with the 42-inch cabinets. And one thing that we do on all of our builds is we build with 9-foot ceilings. So when people walk in these houses, they're like, this doesn't feel this little. It feels a lot bigger. And that's because of the 9-foot ceilings. All right, so let's talk about the U.S. median sales price. We're all real estate investors. Most everybody in this room are becoming one. This is a real problem. Across the U.S., it's $374,000. For a brand new home, as of August 24th, it's $390,000. So to qualify for a $375,000 house, they have to have $80,000 to $85,000 salary. That doesn't include, I didn't consider the existing debt. So I'm not a loan officer, but you get the idea. So as of 2019, the Census Bureau has stated that there's 328,239,000 people. But look over to the right where it talks about the median household income, $62,000. And then entrepreneur.com is reporting that 62% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So it takes two incomes if you want to buy a $375,000 house. I pulled this a couple months ago. Excuse me. These are average salaries for 2021, and I only pulled them for 33 professions just to see who could qualify for a $375,000 mortgage. And let's just look at the top one, the teacher. There's 3,300,000 teachers in the United States, and the average salary for a teacher, which I actually thought was a little high, was came in at $64,000. I mean, look at all of these positions, and it came down to, if you look over highlighted in blue, 118,570,000 people, and you see I only did 33 professions here. Doesn't even include military, doesn't include hospital workers, you name it. That's the amount of people right now that don't even qualify for a $375,000 mortgage. So where are they living? Teenie Homes provide 5 income streams for me. So what I'm sharing with you here is what works for me. It might not work for you. You might not get the same income that I get. You might get more income than I get, but I'm going to share all that with you because I'm very transparent. And yes, there's been a lot of struggles, so I think it's good that people talk about some of the failures and struggles. So I have 5 income streams. I can build them to sell, which they would sell like hotcakes. I know this from being at mine, and the people that come by in a rural area, it's phenomenal, the people that want them. I can provide owner finance on a contract for deed, contract for deed, and put them on Airbnb and Vrbo, which is what I've done. Those are the only 2 channels that I really use. I can also rent them traditionally. I'm not real big on being a landlord. I know a lot of people are. I prefer to be a lien lord, but with a new house, I would definitely consider being a traditional landlord because it's another source of income. And something that I'm getting ready to start is I am going to be building these for property owners. I'm only licensed in Virginia, so I am going to be building some of these for property owners. So there's a lack of affordable homes in the U.S. for sale and rent, and it's really not a lack, it's a national crisis, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it. So what the Teenie Homes do is they provide affordable rents, they provide affordable mortgages, and they provide affordable places for guests to stay because not everybody wants to stay in a hotel. Why building new is better for me than flipping? And I could go into a whole bunch of details about why it's better than flipping for me, but I was constantly blowing budget, so I'm not really good at flipping. To me, vacant lots and land are a lot easier for me to find. I do not buy them on the market. I have before. I'm kind of a land hoarder, but I do like to buy off market. I like to deal directly with the sellers. I also like to buy mobile homes that look really bad, like this one, that are abandoned and nobody wants, and that are an eyesore to people riding by. And then we demo, and then we get the lot all cleared up, and we get ready to start the builds. The other thing about building new is I know my cost up front. I rarely have any surprises. I had a surprise one time where I had to bring in tons of fill dirt onto a lot, which was a lot more than what I had anticipated, but for the most part, I already know up front what I'm going to be spending. Everything is brand new. No repairs for 10 plus years, literally. And I like that. It's a real lifetime investment. I want these houses to be, I want to have something that's going to be here 100 years from now when I'm gone, and I can leave it to somebody. I don't want something that's temporary. All right, my build costs. I get asked this all the time. I'll share it with you. It depends on the plan that you build. It's going to depend on that. And it depends on what you put in it. That little teeny weeny, I can build for $32,000. Now, if I want to paint it myself, then I'm going to save that money. I don't want to paint it myself, but I can. So the largest one that I have is 836 square feet. That's going to run you about 90, or run me about 90. And then I have to add my lot cost and my septic and my well, because I build these in rural areas, that want my business to build 2 or more on one lot, because that's what I'm looking to do. And I put granite, well, y'all saw the pictures, I don't have to go through that list. You saw what I put in them. So that's included in that too. So can you build these for less? Of course you can. You don't have to put what I put in them. Where do I get my lot purchase money and my build money? I don't use my own money. When I first came to Jim's event years ago, I always thought you had to have your own money. That's what kept me from getting involved in real estate investing. And that is true. You definitely, as most of us know, you do not need it. I borrow private money from investors. I include the lot cost in my loan. My investors know that. I pay monthly interest payments to my lenders. And of course, when you borrow private money, your interest is going to be higher because you're paying for the convenience, but no banks to deal with, no appraisals, no BS. I do not like banks. And where's Jeff Watson? We were just talking about that. All right. I'm basically qualifying my integrity and my knowledge. That's basically what my qualifying is. And then I can refi it out. Okay. Joint venture. I've always heard about joint ventures because I attend a lot of conferences. John Morey really got me hooked up on this, and I think I love it. I love the idea because it allows me to be able to build more and do more. So if I joint venture with a money person, basically I have the deal, I'm the deal maker, but I need money. The joint venture partner has the money and no deal, so they need a deal. So it's the perfect match. You partner together and we both have a deal. It's a win-win. I don't have to make the interest payments because we have 50-50 split. We would do a 50-50 split. My joint venture partner is putting up his or her money to work with someone he or she can trust and knows that the work is going to get done. So this is what I was just saying, having multiple joint venture partners means a whole lot of teenies, right? That's what I want, a whole lot of teenies. So how do I meet my private lenders? Right here in this room. You're going to be talking to people and you're not even going to realize they're a private lender. And they might talk to you just in general. That's what happened to me many times. I met this guy in Tucson, Arizona at Bob Zachmeyer's event, and he was going out of his way to come and sit with me. He even got this lady to move so he could sit with me at lunch. And then the next day he did the same thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was thinking, what is this guy doing? And somebody the second day looked at me and said, do you know who he is? I mean, y'all, he was really like at the point where I was like, oh my gosh. And the guy told me, he's like, he manages $8 million of his own money. He was checking you out. And when I got back, he's one of my biggest lenders, especially my new construction projects. When I got back, he called me. And then I realized, hey, and he said, yeah, I want to do business with you. So he's getting ready to do some more with me right now. All right, so your network is your net worth. I learned that from Jim Ingersoll. And I attend as many conferences as I can. One really cool thing about Bob Zachmeyer's event, if you look on the bottom right, he has a bulletin board, and for everybody there, you can fill it out, and it says, people that need money, you fill it out, and people that are loaning money, they can fill it out, and you can go up to the board. You remember that, Joyce? You go up to the board, and you look through the list, and you connect with people while you're there networking. Thought that was really cool. But Dealmaker 2021, obviously, and then I attend just about everything that Walter Wolford has had in Jackson, Mississippi, and on all the cruises. And that is where you meet your private lenders. If I had used these, all right, so I started these two Teenie and Weenie on the same lot on Airbnb, and I didn't pick up Verbo till a little bit later. But I started them in January of 2020, and I'm in a coastal rural area, like I've mentioned. People told me I was crazy. My husband was not really crazy about me doing this, but I'm very hard-headed and I'm determined, and I knew that people needed a place to stay because we're surrounded by water, and there was an old dive motel in this little town, but there was nowhere for people to stay. and you've got all these $1 million houses everywhere and all these marinas, 16 marinas, where are they going to stay? They had to go back home, or they had to go to a hotel 2 counties over. So if I had used these as traditional rentals, this is what the projection of what I would have made. Now, it's not a lot of rentals in this area either, so what I did is I went to HUD's website and I looked up the county to see what they would pay for a 1-bedroom studio and what they would pay for a 2-bedroom, and that's where these figures come from. So I knew they were pretty solid to go by. So my total income for the year of 2020 would have been $22,000, right? All right, so like I said, I use these as short-term rentals. I'm rural. I literally, y'all, have nothing to offer these people because they're not on the water. I don't have, I just don't have anything to offer them other than they're on the way to the museum and one of the restaurants and another housing development.
Cornfield across the street.
And a cornfield across the street, yeah. That I fell in when Ken and Ginger Lacey were here. Walked right out of my shoes. Okay, so they're not on the water. The closest public beach, because there's no public beaches in this area, is 6 miles away, 6 or 7 miles away. So I don't even have a beach, and I get that a lot. I actually lose a lot of bookings because I don't have anywhere for people to go to get to the water. So they have to travel a little bit to get there. And I can't invite everybody to my property. I have done it before so they can get to the water, but I don't like to do that. And the lawyers in the room would tell me, no, 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 don't do that. Okay, so my Airbnb income, you know, I lost, as soon as I started in January, COVID hit in March, right? I lost everything. I'm like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? And I was, you know, Airbnb was canceling left and right. You know, they put the pressure on you. I mean, obviously people couldn't help it. We had to cancel. So I really didn't know what I was going to do. I was just going to let it ride out, and I'm glad I did because it took off. I was really surprised. So from Airbnb, they made $21,900. Vrbo, I did not do that much with, just around $4,000 on one and $1,900 on the other. Because as you can see, if you look at the bottom, it says July. So, you know, I didn't even have them on there right away. And then I had this sign in the front yard, which I'm getting ready to have a permanent sign made. And I hired one of those voice guys that have that really nice voice. Because, you know, most of the women, you know, call these numbers, right? So I did $6,400 just from that sign right there. And the road dead ends. It goes to the museum, the Maritime Museum, and their pier. And now a restaurant, but another marina, that's it. Now there's a restaurant there. That's it. So I didn't think that was too bad considering COVID year, and I just had that little sign right there. I don't know why that total moved there, but okay, that 34,000 moved over. But so I made 34,000 with a 39% occupancy on these houses during COVID and in a rural area. I thought it was pretty good. All right, in 2021 so far, I have exceeded that. The 36,000 that you're seeing right there I have a third-party integration system called Lodgify. And so it tracks Airbnb and then my website. And then if I create any manual bookings, because I get a lot of people that call that want that, so that's the total there. And then it doesn't integrate with HomeAway because I had to pay for that. But I already have $45,983 in bookings so far. And that does not include, because Vrbo does not give me in the way to download it what is the projected. So there's more that's already booked through them that's not in that figure. And I'm in a coastal seasonal area. So already at that, which I'm very happy about. Now, obviously I have expenses. I didn't go into all that detail on this because I'm trying to keep it within the 45 minutes that I'm allowed to talk. So then I thought, okay, so what if I duplicated this in a non-seasonal area, like closer to Richmond, closer to here. And I had a 90% occupancy rate because this is a hot area, even close to Richmond. We have a lot of hospitals. So what if I duplicated this and I targeted business travelers, nurses, doctors, even had it on Airbnb and Vrbo if that worked. I know I could get more because I'm only charging $135 a night, and I've been told that I'm not charging enough, but like I said, y'all, I don't have anything, I don't have the waterfront property for them, and I want them booked, I'm not greedy. So what if I took that same rate, even though I know I could get a lot more than that, let's just be real, and I booked it for 365 days, I know that's, let me hold on. 90% of the 365 days, I would make $83,000 gross on that in bookings. And that would be at a 90%. So if you're like, okay, Lisa, let's be for real. What about 70%? It's still $58,000. So how many of these could I build if I can find the lots at a good price, right? And even if I have to pay more for the lots, if I use them as short-term rentals, I'm making up a lot of money versus just a regular rental. All right, will there be affordable subdivisions again? 400 and some thousand, right at 400,000, and then you add the add-ons to it. I'm gonna let you be the judge of that because, and when you go to develop land, the developer has to complete a plan of development. 28 pages of requirements, 28 pages. Red tape. I avoid red tape. I've been there, done that. I've been involved in developments for a long time. All right, so you've got the 28 pages, and then you've got 7 pages of an application. And there's a lot of fine print because I'm showing you all of it right here. Look at all that fine print. That's what your engineer is going to do. Cha-ching, cha-ching, right? Every time that engineer taps on one of those things that are required, your bill just went up significantly. So because of the land cost, the feasibility, the engineering, paved roads, curb gutters, sidewalks, street lights, best management practices, water, sewer, erosion settlement, landscape and permit, the carrying costs, the loan payments, where is the word affordable? That's why you're not seeing $150,000 to $200,000 homes, even $250,000, you're not seeing them in subdivisions because they're just not, the developers can't, you see what they're having to pay. They divide their lot cost and their profit, they get their lot cost and that includes their profit. There's no money for affordable. That's why they're all in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. So I don't think you're gonna see it. I don't think you're gonna see it anymore. So this slide is just a repeat of the other one because, you know, look at the lot cost for a $390,000 home. It's a lot of money. Who was a real estate investor when the market crashed? Not that many, but y'all are gonna know what I'm talking about here. I was in the process of developing, my husband and I, an 8 duplex subdivision. 16 doors, that was my first big development by myself. I've worked for developers. I used to put land deals together, take the land deals to them, off-market land deals, and then I would get all the listings for doing that. So I would be the listing agent on all the new construction. All right, so our plan of development was very long because you saw the pages of what the engineer had to come up with. We were building these duplexes. Here are the plans that we had made. Now, the plans look kind of funny. The garages are recessed, so they were really, really pretty 3-bedroom units. Here is the one sheet off of what our engineer had created. The X's are the lots. You can see to the very right is the main road, and then the Fish and Bay Court is the road that we were gonna have to put in. You have some open space, you have mass drain fields, everything's well and septic, and then you have community water. So I had a 48-bedroom septic, meaning I could have 48 bedrooms for that mass drain field. I didn't include the whole entire package, but look at the fine print here. This is all the work that my engineer had to do. He had to provide, this is like 8 pages. So we ended up terminating the development, and here's why. After I'd spent a ton of money. So we're talking about, you know, losing money. I lost a lot of money. New construction came to a halt. Buyers weren't buying new homes and sellers weren't listing their homes. They were scared. A lot of foreclosures came out. We had to rent our spec homes. Luckily, we didn't lose anything because we saw a lot of builders and developers go down. And as an REO agent, I can't tell you how many million-dollar builders' homes that I listed. So when we had to rent these spec homes, guess what? We lost all of our profit. And we got a deposit, right? Lost all the profit. But we didn't lose the homes. But the rent barely covered the construction. It did cover it, but it wasn't anything. It wasn't any mailbox money or anything like that coming. The banks, back then, I know it's a little bit different now, but back then, the commercial lines of credit were renewable every year. They did not have to renew that, and guess what? They didn't. They didn't want to. They were pulling equity lines. They even pulled my parents' equity line who had no money on it, right? It's crazy. And this little community bank that we all dealt with was just bought out by a big bad wolf. So the big bad wolf had stepped in and they pulled it. So there goes my line of credit that I had, right? All right, so we ended up losing thousands of dollars because we had paid these engineers. I was stroking $10,000 checks a month, y'all. This stuff was expensive to do, and I really felt like I was getting in way over my head. All right, but today we still own the land, so I'm like, I gotta figure this out. Got to figure this out. I'm one of these people where I am determined. So when you get beat down, you get back up, you brush yourself off, you figure it out, you never give up, and you persevere. And that's me. Everything is figure-outable. Here's my figure-outable. I became a zoning ordinance. I didn't know what word to put there. I don't know if expert's the right word, but ask me anything you want to know about zoning, okay? I dove into zoning, and I dove into subdivision ordinances because I was determined that there has to be a way to figure this out. I choose to stay small. You know that development that I just showed you that we backed out of? I'm not interested in that. I don't want anything to do with those anymore. And I'll tell you why. I buy individual lots, might be a half acre. I buy small tracts of land, 10 acres and under. Usually it's around 6 or under. And I create little multifamilies. Now, when you see the teeny and the teeny weeny, that's what I like to do. But I also have it figured out where I'm creating my own little multifamilies. I don't have any dealings with plan of developments anymore, so no PODs, that's the acronym for it, no red tape. All right, so here's that 16 unit plan of development, cha-ching, cha-ching. I told you I kept losing all that money. No more, done, over. Here's my figure-outable. Now this is the GIS map of that right there. But it looks a little bit different because the GIS maps with the county are not as accurate as a survey. So you've got this, see how this is coming out right here? It's more like goes that way, but I had to work with that GIS map. So what I did is I figured out a way to subdivide that acreage, that same exact acreage, into 4 1-acre lots. I have 2 options for that. This is all legal, by the way, all legal. I can build a quad on each lot. That's minor red tape, but I don't have the plan of development to deal with because it's allowable. Or I can build 5 teenies on each lot. 20 teenies. I was only going to get 16 with all that money that I was spending, right? Now I'm getting more. And I have the number of bedrooms I need. No POD, plan of development, no paved roads, no red tape, no BS. And as my friend John Morey says, bam. Bam. Right? Bam. Okay? Figure-outable. All right. Here's another piece. 4.6 acres. Okay, so There's a road, the main road going into town is right here, and that's a side street, which is showing you right there in the picture. This property is on the left, it's all wooded. So I bought the 5 lots that are ready to go that are on the main road. I can put commercial there. I'm actually saving those because with this zoning, I can do commercial or residential, and I have a whole bunch of different stuff I can do. But my figure outable on this is I'm taking, it narrows down towards the end, so I don't know exactly yet how many teenies I'm gonna get on here yet, but I'm gonna subdivide that into 5 lots. And like I said, I'm not sure, and it depends on my septic. My engineer's already been there, but I'm waiting to get my number of bedrooms. Worst case scenario, 15 teeny units. And my best case would be 20. No POD, no paved roads, no red tape, no BS, bam.
Bam. I love it.
Okay, you're seeing all this gloom and doom everywhere, right? Market's gonna crash, what's happening? When are we all gonna lose money, right? Well, I feel like I'm ready this time. I wasn't ready last time, I wasn't expecting it. Bring it on. Because I feel like these teeny homes are bulletproof because somebody is going to rent it, somebody is going to buy it, or somebody is going to use them as a place to stay, like Vrbo or Airbnb, because they are affordable. And that's why I call them teeny mansions and little bulletproof gold mines. And here is, I've probably finished up a lot earlier. I actually got rid of a lot of the slides because I thought it was going to be too long. What time is it?
12:12.
I'm sorry?
12:12.
Yeah, I finished up early. So I'll be happy to answer any questions for you. It took me a long time to figure out how to do this. It's just a matter of studying it and really diving into it. So I finished up early. I'm sorry. I'm just now.
No, you're like perfect.
I know, so sorry.
No,
I told them they could ask questions though. So here's my email address. You can email me. You can give me your information if you want to discuss any of it. You can also join my Teenie Homes USA free Facebook group.